They whisper in the shadows, these architects of misery. You've seen their handiwork, the subtle decay, the calculated cruelty. But what if I told you their power is a fragile illusion, a house of cards waiting for a single, precise gust? Forget the righteous fury. Forget the screaming matches. This isn't a battle of fists, it's a war of minds. We're diving into the Sigma's arsenal, the tactics they use to dismantle these puppet masters, to turn their own games against them. You think you know power? You're about to witness its silent, surgical precision. 1. Decoding the mask, recognizing the evil persona. Have you ever felt that unsettling chill, the sense that someone's smile hides a sinister agenda? That's your intuition whispering a warning. Evil isn't always a cackling villain in a dark alley. It's often a charming coworker, a persuasive friend, or even a seemingly supportive family member. They wear masks of normalcy, hiding their true intentions behind a facade of kindness. To dismantle their power, you must first learn to see through those masks. Look for the subtle inconsistencies in their stories, the way their eyes flicker when they lie, the pattern of manipulation they leave in their wake. For example, consider the story of Sarah, a young woman who was swept off her feet by a charismatic man. He showered her with compliments, promised her the world, and isolated her from her friends and family. But as their relationship progressed, his charming mask began to slip, revealing a possessive and controlling nature. Sarah's story is a chilling reminder that evil often lurks beneath the surface of charm and charisma. The key is to trust your instincts, to pay attention to the subtle cues that reveal a person's true character. Don't be afraid to question their motives, to challenge their inconsistencies, to peel back the layers of their carefully crafted persona. 2. The art of strategic detachment, observing without entanglement. Picture yourself standing on a mountaintop, watching a raging storm below. The wind howls, the rain lashes, and the thunder roars, but you remain untouched, a silent observer of the chaos. That's the power of strategic detachment. The Sigma male doesn't get swept up in the emotional storms of others. He observes them from a distance, analyzing their patterns, anticipating their moves. This detachment isn't about being cold or unfeeling. It's about maintaining clarity and control in the face of chaos. Consider the case of a toxic workplace, where gossip, backstabbing, and power struggles are the norm. Most people would get caught up in the drama, taking sides, spreading rumors, and fueling the fire. But the Sigma male would remain detached, observing the dynamics, identifying the key players, and understanding their motivations. He wouldn't waste his energy on emotional reactions. He would focus on gathering information, building alliances, and positioning himself for strategic advantage. This detachment allows him to see the bigger picture, to identify the root causes of the conflict, and to develop effective solutions. The next time you find yourself in a chaotic situation, take a step back, detach yourself from the emotional whirlwind, and observe the situation with a clear and objective mind. 3. The power of unspoken words, mastering strategic silence. Imagine a chess player facing an opponent who constantly taunts and insults him. Most players would lose their focus, becoming flustered and making mistakes. But the master chess player would remain silent, his gaze fixed on the board, his mind focused on the next move. He understands that silence is not weakness, it's a weapon, a way to disarm and intimidate his opponent. Evil people thrive on attention, on provoking emotional reactions. They want to see you lose your cool, to make you say or do something you'll regret. But when you refuse to play their game, when you meet their provocations with a cold, indifferent silence, you take away their power. They're left sputtering, frustrated, their carefully crafted manipulations falling flat. Consider the example of a manipulative ex-partner who tries to provoke you with insults and accusations. Most people would feel compelled to defend themselves, to argue back, to try to prove their innocence. But the Sigma male would simply walk away, refusing to engage in the drama. This silence sends a powerful message. Your words have no power over me. The next time someone tries to provoke you, remember the power of silence. Don't give them the satisfaction of a reaction. Let your silence speak volumes. Point 4. Exposing the fabrications. the art of dissection and revelation. Have you ever watched a magician perform a seemingly impossible trick? You're amazed by the illusion, but then the magician reveals the secret, and the magic disappears. That's the power of exposing lies. Evil people are masters of illusion, weaving intricate webs of deception to control and manipulate others. To dismantle their power, you must learn to dissect their lies, to reveal the truth behind their carefully crafted narratives. This requires a sharp mind, a keen eye for detail, and a willingness to challenge their authority. Consider the case of a corrupt politician who uses lies and propaganda to maintain his power. He manipulates the media, spreads false rumors, and silences his critics. But a determined journalist, armed with facts and evidence, exposes his corruption, revealing the truth to the public. This act of revelation can shatter the politician's power, bringing him down from his pedestal. To expose lies, you must be willing to do your research, to gather evidence, to challenge the status quo. Don't be afraid to ask difficult questions, to demand transparency, to hold people accountable for their actions. 5. The fortress of boundaries. Defining and defending your space. Imagine a castle surrounded by impenetrable walls, a fortress that no enemy can breach. That's the power of strong boundaries. Evil people thrive on exploiting your weaknesses, on pushing your limits, on invading your personal space. To protect yourself, you must build a fortress of self-respect, a set of clear and unwavering boundaries that no one can cross. This requires self-awareness, self-confidence, and a willingness to say no. Consider the example of a toxic friendship, where one person constantly demands attention, criticizes your choices, and drains your energy. Most people would feel obligated to maintain the friendship, even if it's harmful. But the Sigma male would recognize the toxic dynamic and set clear boundaries, limiting contact and refusing to tolerate disrespect. He understands that self-preservation is not selfish, it's essential for his well-being. To build strong boundaries, you must first define your values, your priorities, and your limits. Then, you must communicate those boundaries clearly and assertively, and be willing to enforce them with unwavering resolve. 6. The network of allies, building strategic partnerships. Picture a pack of wolves working together in perfect harmony, each playing a vital role in the hunt. That's the power of strategic alliances. The Sigma male understands that he doesn't have to face evil alone. He can build a network of like-minded individuals, people who share his values, his vision, his determination. These allies provide support, information, and resources, amplifying his power and effectiveness. Consider the case of a community facing a corrupt corporation that is polluting their environment. The residents could try to fight the corporation individually, but they would be easily overpowered. However, if they form a coalition, uniting their voices and resources, they can become a powerful force for change. To build strategic alliances, you must first identify your goals and values. Then, you must seek out individuals who share those goals and values, and build relationships based on mutual respect, trust, and collaboration. 7. The long game, patience, persistence, and strategic outlasting. Imagine a chess master playing a long, drawn-out game, patiently maneuvering his pieces, anticipating his opponent's moves, and waiting for the perfect moment to strike. That's the power of the long game. Evil people are often patient, persistent, and ruthless, willing to play the long game to achieve their goals. To defeat them, you must be even more patient, more persistent, and more strategic. You must be willing to play the long game, to endure setbacks, to learn from your failures, and to keep moving forward. Consider the example of a revolutionary who spends years organizing and mobilizing his followers, patiently building a movement, and waiting for the right moment to strike. He understands that change takes time, that progress is often slow and incremental. To play the long game, you must cultivate patience, perseverance, and a strategic mindset. Don't be discouraged by setbacks. Learn from them and keep moving forward. Remember, the ultimate victory belongs to those who are willing to endure.